One. Welcome everyone to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. I am fired up, excited, and have the pleasure of meeting Jacqueline Almeida. She is the founder and CEO of Alpha and Omega Strategies. Almost messed that up. Welcome to the show, Jacqueline.
Oh, it's such a pleasure to be here, Steve. Thank you so much. And thank you to your audience already. So, yeah,
Oh, this is going to be fun. You guys are going to learn a lot about Jacqueline and what she does. Let's get into that. How did
absolutely.
you get started in what you're doing now? Let's talk about what you do a little bit.
Sure. I've been in leadership and coaching and training for the last 26 years. But the reason why I made a decision to start my own business was because my father passed away 6 years ago.
Oh,
And suddenly, when that happened, I was just face to face with mortality. And I thought, life is way too short. What am I going to do with my life? There comes a point in life where all of us have to make a very tough decision. There are many times in life where we have to make those tough decisions. So I was currently working at a nonprofit organization at that point, and I was doing my thing. I loved what I was doing. I loved my clients. I was training in leadership there, doing quite a bit of training there, but I just knew that I needed. There was something within me that was not that was resisting, that was fighting, or there was an urgency of something new that was birthing, and I didn't know what it was, but I did know that whenever I've had those experiences where I've just felt an urging of something different, that I have to act on it. And so I came to my husband and I said, I think I'm going to quit. I'm going to resign. And he goes, what? And I said, I'm going to resign. And he was a little bit taken aback, but you know what? I've always had such a great supporter in him. And so I did. I resigned and I decided that I would go into something different, but I didn't know what. So I took a big risk not knowing where to go.
yeah.
My son said, come and work with me. He had an exterior renovation business. And I said, okay. And he said, how about you being a brand ambassador for me? And I said, okay, let's do it. I had no clue what that was. What was it? What did it mean to be a brand ambassador? But a year and a half of working with him, he said, you need to be doing what you're great at, Mom. And that's coaching people and training people in leadership. And so I started the business with him at that point. He was the one that urged me and that set everything up so that I could continue in the business. And 6 months later, he just removed himself and I took over. But the reason why I started it was because so many people can relate so well to experiences with, unfortunately, bad leaders. So many people, you ask them, tell me about an experience with leaders, and they'll always relate to those bad experiences. And then there are people that can relate to experiences with good leaders, but very, very few will give you the outstanding stories that they have with great leadership. And I thought, this is so unfortunate. We need to do something about it. I need to do something about it. And in this life, sometimes we are called, we have an appointment to do something that we think, could it be? Can I do this? What ought to be, what should be, what must be that I need to step into? And I thought, that's it. So I'm all about, I call myself a leadership connoisseur, and I turn bosses into leaders. That's what I do, Steve.
Well, you said two things there that audience I want to bring back is decision, decisive, and risk.
Yes.
And this is not going to the grocery store and buying an orange or an apple. This is a life changing.
Yes.
So huge kudos to you, which is why I wanted to have you on to make that decision. And you did it and you're thriving.
Thank
So leadership's important, but I've not heard a lot of people consult or coach leadership. Why'd you pick that niche?
Again, because I'm a firm believer that when you have great leaders in place, everybody wins. When you have
Sure.
great leaders in place, you've got great workplace environments where people are thriving. And when people are thriving, they're creating results. And that's what organizations need. That's what businesses need. We need to be able to have in our team, among our employees, not necessarily just employees, but leaders. We need to choose leaders to work with us. And if you are a leader and you're a great leader, you will begin to create environments where people thrive and the people create the results.
I love it. Let's get a little crazy. You ready? Let's get a little crazy. let's pretend I'm your new prospect. I've just signed a board. Let's do about a 5-minute how you get me started with your journey and how it all works.
Okay, absolutely. So let's do it. Steve, I love the program that you have. I love the fact that you are a business owner. And I find that there's so much power in being a business owner. And what I'd like to know, though, I've got a question for you is, and that's tell me a little bit about what is the percentage during the day? How many times do you feel that you step into your leadership during your day? How many times do you show up and you're like, I'm a leader. I
20,
am
yeah, I'd say 20% of the day.
20% of the day. Okay. And could you tell me a little bit about what do you think gets in the way of you stepping into your leadership more within your business?
Great question. Work, emails, a phone call, distraction from personal life, family, those type of things.
How do you think how do you think that not stepping into your leadership affects you? Or let me reverse the question. If you were to step into your leadership more in your business, what do you think that would do for you?
I believe I'd have growth,
What kind of growth?
income, better relationships with my employees. Um, I'd be happier, less stress. I'd be able to do tangible things with my employees to get more out of them, and not in a bad way, but in a way where they're comfortable, I'm comfortable, those type of things.
Absolutely, right? So you're already in awareness. You're already awakened to the fact that if you stepped into your leadership, you could gain more. You could increase more. You could expand more. You could get better results, bigger results, not only for yourself, your business, but also for the people that are working with you. So we know that, right?
Yeah.
We are certain of that. And here's the thing. Unfortunately, there's a great majority of leaders who are in leadership positions, who are in leadership roles, and who have very little understanding of how important it is for them to step into their leadership. Leadership is not a role. Leadership is not that position. Leadership is who we are for our business and for people, right? Isn't that
Yeah, that's
amazing?
so true. Jacqueline, we'll stop there. I mean, I think the audience gets the idea what you do. Just that 3.5 minutes, I've got more awareness and I understand where you can help me, because practice makes repetition, practice.
Right.
And I believe that's what you do. So you would take me and work me through the journey for how long?
Right. So I would work with you for about 6 months. I work with you for 6 months to start. Actually, if you worked with me for a year and a half to 2 years, I mean, your leadership completely shifts and changes. And that's what I've seen my clients is that after having worked with me. First of all, let me put it this way. The majority of clients that I have really don't consider the fact that they are leaders. They're not just business owners, they are leaders of their lives, of their business, and of the people around them. And the moment that they become awakened to the fact that they are leaders and that they must step into that leadership on a regular basis with themselves, with others, with their business, suddenly there's a shift that happens, right? If we are not aware of the fact that we are leaders first, and then the business comes, and then we can lead their business,
Yeah.
then we start compromising ourselves, our business, and the people around us. And leadership is not something that we can compartmentalize. If we say that we're leaders in our business, then we're leaders when we're at home, we're leaders when we're at the restaurant, we're leaders when we're with our friends, with our children, and committees. We're leaders at all times, which means and begs the question then, are we saying yes to that leadership? Are we understanding that it's a calling, that it's an appointment, that it's a journey, a lifelong journey? The decisions that we make are so important, but they're important because it allows us to step into that leadership that's going to make all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
There's something that I call the 10-80-10 rule, and that is that in every circumstance, in any situation, among whatever group of people, there's only 10% of the people within that context that are actually true leaders. Only 10%.
Small.
80% of people are begging and looking and searching and observing all around you, all around them, uh, their surroundings. Who are the leaders? Who are the leaders? That's 80% of people are looking for that. The other 10% just wreak havoc, right? They create more confusion. They create toxicity. They create just chaos. And so we've got to be thinking to ourselves, what kind of a leader am I? What kind of a person do I want to be in my everyday life? You don't need to have the position. You don't need to have the title. You don't even need to have a business. The mere fact that you're existing in life, the mere fact that you have children or that you have friends or that you have a social media, that you have whatever it is, puts you in a position of saying yes to leadership or no to it. But
So
we
let me,
can
go ahead. So let me ask you this comment. So what I'm hearing from you is leadership can almost make and break a company.
absolutely.
Wow.
All the difference. It makes all the difference. Not only a company, an organization, it can make or break your business. It can break or make a nation. We know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. That's true.
It's
Great
that
point.
important.
Wow, that's interesting. And I know a lot of coaches and consultants, whatever mentors, whatever word you, and I don't know anybody that does what you do from a leadership standpoint, just takes leadership and works on that. Because I believe in it. I've been a sports guy. My great coaches that were my great leaders. The coaches that were okay were not good leaders. They just coached. So I've lived that, and that's why I wanted to have you on. Plus, your passion is so. I'm sucking it all in my body and spirit. Your passion.
I
Um,
believe in it with everything I've got. It makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah, I love that. And that's what should be when you get a coach or a mentor. They should have that passion. Um, with that, I know you study. I know there's books. We talked before the show.
Yes.
Give me one or two or books that you love and why and how they've helped you grow.
Wow. Well, let me just give you a short little story. Tomorrow is my 8th year anniversary of being married to my husband. And when
Happy
I
anniversary. Congratulations.
thank you. And when I was going to move into our place, I had so many boxes of books. I had over 3,000 boxes of books. And my husband said to me, this is not coming into the house. That's way too much. But I had to then filter through and think about which books are the ones that are have made the great difference in my life. And there was I nailed it down from 3,000. I brought it down to 100. 100 books is what I started, and I started all over again. And every single book that I had in my library, I've read, I've studied, I've underlined. I couldn't even give it to anybody else because they're filled always with notes.
Yeah.
To bring it down to one or two books is it's very hard. So let me just say that currently, two books that I'm currently reading, three books that I'm currently reading. One is Courage is the Destiny by Ryan Holiday. It is an incredible book. Ryan Holiday is probably one of my favorite authors. He's very and kudos and a shout out to him. He is clear, succinct, and empowering. So that one is it's a great book. Self Confidence by Brian Tracy is another good book. That is I have found it's so easy and simple and so clear. You understand absolutely everything from him. And I can't remember the title of it, but every single book of John C. Maxwell.
Yeah. Yeah.
Single book.
And 3,000 books, that's a lot of books.
That's a lot of books.
And kudos to you, and you've studied them, and that's where you are in your path today. And audience, listen to what she's saying. She studies. So 10 minutes a day or an hour, whatever that is, personal development is a big part of leadership. Let's delve into that real quick. How you help that client and customer with their personal development.
Well, leadership is first about self-leadership. If we're not able to lead ourselves, then we can't authentically come into any kind of a business or organization and lead people. It's a huge responsibility to try to lead people. And so we've got to be able to be very awakened to who we are. Self-awareness is absolutely, it's a lifelong journey in leadership. And unfortunately, again, I find that far too many leaders are not evolving or growing or developing in their own self. So they're developing in the skills of their leadership, but not necessarily in terms of themselves. And so that is something that I am a huge proponent of. leading myself is the requirement, so that I'm able to be a better leader for everybody else around me, and so that I can make decisions better, so I can risk better, so that I can empower the people that work for me better as well.
That's fantastic. And I'm glad you delved into that. You know, regards to leadership and coaching, where do you tell me a story of somebody you helped and what happened?
Well, let me just tell you, oh gosh, I have a program called Impact Leadership for Women, and it's a program, 10 sessions. We work for about an hour and a half every time that we meet. It's a group session with all kinds of leaders from all kinds of backgrounds. And I had, and as a matter of fact, it's going to start again on February the 8th. It's a beautiful program that delves into leadership, but it also is all about self-growth, self-introspection, self-analysis, because we must be aware of ourselves. And so I had one leader that is a business owner, and she was in a place of confusion with her own business, a business owner for 10 years. So you would think that if you're a business for 10 years, that you are clear, you're on the path. But the one thing that I realized over and over and over again, our businesses are an identity in and of themselves, and so they continue changing, and we come into those spaces of confusion on a regular basis. And that's why I work quite a bit with small business owners, because as our business evolves, we need to evolve with it and actually be a step ahead of that evolvement, right? So she was in a space of confusion. She didn't know what the next steps were. She had there was conflict with some of her employees, and she was at a space where do I go from here? And so she wanted me, Jacqueline, I'd like you to work with me on the business, on the business, on the business. I'm very intuitive and insightful, and one of the things that I said to her is, I don't think that that's the direction that we need to start on first. I think that we need to start on you first. And she goes, well, what do you mean? I said, we need to work on you, on what's happening in here, what's happening in your mind, in your heart, in your spirit. We need to start working with that. And so I said, you know what? I've got a program, Impact Leadership for Women. I'd like you to start with that. And so at first she was hesitant. And she goes, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this because I believe what you're saying, that I have to work on myself first, on my leadership, how I lead myself. And then everything will flow from there. So we did. And I was just having our last session today, and we were having a coaching, just a short coaching follow-up session today. And she said to me, Jacqueline, I am so clear today about the direction that I'm taking for my business. I'm clear with the foundation of my business. That's the vision, the mission, the values that I have, my objectives, my goals. But I'm far more also awakened and aware of myself, of where I'm at. And because I'm so aware of myself and where I'm at, I know that I can move forward.
Yeah.
And I am so clear. I am so thankful. I am so happy. The gratitude was the one thing that humbled me so incredibly much, because we don't know the power that we have to help people along in their business so that they can be successful. So that is just a very recent testimony of how important and how valuable it is to grow in our leadership, and to understand that if we've got a business and we want to move it along, we want to grow it, and we want to see more results, it starts with me first, right? And the
Yeah.
leadership that I bring to my own life.
Yeah. I love all that. And I knew you'd have a great story. That's why I asked that. It's giving me chills right now. And men and women audience out there, you could see how incredible Jacqueline is. And leadership is important. And if you need help with that, I want you to reach out to her. And her information will be in the show notes, because she can help you. And she's offering an opportunity to sit down in a 15, 20-minute call to get to know you and see if you're a fit. And thank you, Jacqueline, for doing that. That's awesome. As I always say, I want to thank you for being on the show. You are more powerful than I thought you were. And I've known you for about 4 or 5 months. And this is great, because as a host, I get to learn about you as well.
Steve,
Let's go ahead.
So
Oh,
thank you.
God bless you. Let's leave the audience with a great tip that has grown you as a person, but more so you as a business owner to where you are today. What's that tip?
I would say, if you could spend just consciously thinking today about, how am I stepping into my leadership? How am I being a leader for myself and my in just my everyday life with my children, with my home life, with my partner, with my friends? If I could just consciously, if you could just consciously ask yourself that one question, am I stepping into my leadership? uh, and then begin to see yourself as a leader. That one little thing alone is going to revolutionize and start you on a path of greater impact in life.